7.3 is consideration of a letter of support.
Actually, 7.5 is water resources. They're here.
Work.
Oh, okay, yeah, 7.3.
So I'll start over. 7.3, consideration of a letter of support for the Lake-Napa private, public, community-based organization and tribal government collaborative forest health project. And we have our climate resiliency officer, Terry Logston, here.
Thank you. Joel Nordinger, who is the CEO of Napa Firewise, should be on Zoom and promoted to panelist. Joel Nordlinger. Thank you, Board. Terry Logston, Chief Climate Resiliency Officer and Tribal Liaison. Today I'm bringing to you a letter of support from the Napa Communities Firewise Foundation, who's seeking your support on a grant application to CAL FIRE's Forest Health Grant. You may recall that last month I brought another one. It's in the same area. There's two different projects, and both are led by Napa-based organizations. And so this project seeks to repair and rehabilitate forested areas affected by the 2015 Valley Fire and the 2020 Lake-Napa unit fires. It includes removing abundance of dead material on the forest floor, dead and weakened trees, conduct seed collection from local conifers for reforestation support, and the Middletown Rancheria Pomo Indians cultural burning of all forest and wildlands on their rancheria and on their newly acquired trust lands, improve forest health at the Montesol Ranch adjacent to Robert Louis Stevenson State Park, and restore habitat on BLM lands. And so, Joe, if you want to give us some quick information, and if your board have any questions.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for having me, Chair Randall. Terry, thanks for helping to line this up. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you a little bit about this project that we've developed that involves land up in and partners up in Lake County. Again, my name is Joe Nordlinger. I'm the CEO of Napa Firewise. We are sort of the leading wildfire resilience and pre-fire organization here in Napa County, doing a lot of work around wildfire preparedness, fuel management, outreach, education, defensible space, etc. For some time here, we have been working a lot in Napa County exclusively on a range of different projects, and we've made a lot of advances. Starting about 2.5 years ago, we really intended to pursue projects with some of our county border partners and sought to develop those relationships. We've obviously been involved for a long time with the unit, with Chief Wink as our pre-fire chief within the unit. And we've successfully undertaken some projects in Sonoma and Solano. And this year we are pursuing a forest health grant. We've successfully secured 2 of these grants in the past. And we decided we wanted to develop a project along the Napa Lake border and address a number of wildfire resilience issues and forest health issues that are associated with legacy burn scars from the LNU lightning and the Valley Fire. The letter of support that's before you today outlines some of those partnerships that we've developed in developing this project with Clerk, the Lake RCD, Montesol, Rancheria. And so we've got a number of several of the fire safe councils up in Lake. So we've been working for several months now to develop this project. We have a very strong application. We have letters of support and letters of commitment from a number of the other partners, and we are hoping that the Board of Supervisors will sign on with a letter of support as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions and give you what insights I can about the application.
All right. Any questions? Supervisor Sabatier?
I'll make the same statement I made for last time, and it's actually kind of, I don't want to say perfect, but it just seems timely that it's right after the issue that we just dealt with. Whether you're dealing with trash in your front yard or dealing with forest health on your property that you privately own, yes, you can work with the Firewise communities. That's how they're supposed to work, is to try and help out with the communities. But us, as a Board of Supervisor, I would prefer if we were not supporting something on private property where the private property owner should take responsibility and deal with that on their own. There's already, I believe, a Napa land trust. They were given 1.7 million, at least what I was able to find through my research, to deal with forest health, and now they're looking for more. And I don't see on here what the any commitments or any skin in the game from the property owner, but just because you own 7,000 acres doesn't mean that we should help you while penalize somebody with a $50 by $100 100-foot lot. So I struggle on that. I would support it if it was just a BLM land and the Middletown Rancheria, but the added private property, I think that can happen between yourselves, because again, Firewise communities are meant for that, but getting a letter of support from the Board of Supervisors, if it was for public benefit only, then I would say yes, but to me, it's just, that's not what we're here for.
So I'm not sure if that was a question. It seemed a comment. Let me respond to it. I understand that perspective. We often work with large landowners. Sometimes those are private landowners, and their commitment is to oftentimes provide matching funds and or staff and ongoing commitment to maintaining the project work that we do. We found that it's pretty important. Fire doesn't really care about whether you're a private landowner or a public landowner, and the reality is that there are lots of large landowners and tracts of land, some of them owned by people that have the means, some owned by people that are sort of property wealthy, cash poor. And the reality is if there's a legacy burn scar and or an accumulation of fuel, that's a threat to surrounding neighbors, whether they're public or private landowners or communities. We endeavor to try to find landowners that are willing to invest their own dollars alongside the dollars that we're able to raise with grant funds. We've successfully done that literally hundreds of times. We're constantly trying to figure out how to make a dollar worth $3 or $4 by getting landowners to step up and take on responsibility to better maintain the land that they own and are responsible for. I think it's a sensitivity that we're all too familiar with, sir, and we recognize that. We like to think ourselves as coalition builders who have a keen eye on making sure that the grant dollars that are out there get the maximum impact that they can. And that involves leveraging matching funds that we provide, matching funds from the landowners, and building sort of a multi-parcel coalition so that we can make those dollars go as far as possible to improve the overall forest resilience, wildfire resilience of the community, kind of in an extended way. I hope that addresses some of your concerns.
And I appreciate your response to my comment, because you're right, it wasn't a question. I appreciate your perspective and your philosophy on that, and I will remain where I am as well. But I appreciate the work that you do and appreciate your response.
All right, so I don't know who was first.
She was first.
Go ahead, Supervisor Owen.
Is the landowner actually chipping in on this project?
They are. And are you speaking about Montesol? Is that the main landowner that you're talking about?
I'm talking about the ones in Lake County that you're wanting the support for.
Yeah,
Montesol.
Yeah, so we already have the support of the RCD clerk, these various fire safe councils, Montesol. All of the landowners are contributing match. In some cases, it's financial. In some cases, it's in kind, and the commitment to maintain the work. We've structured the property such that we're bringing resources to the table, and the landowners are also contributing. In some cases, again, that's their staff time and or a financial commitment. And so,
And do you know which it is on this particular one? Are they financially chipping in?
So. All of them have a financial commitment at some level.
I'm talking about for the clearing, the work to be done.
Yes, is
Okay.
the answer to your question.
Okay. And then the next is, I would like to see some of this grant money when you're doing private. I don't have a problem so much with you helping private, but the lower income, those that are struggling, is where my heart's going to go. There's a lot of, for instance, Anderson Springs, there's a lot of burnt trees and such in that area, and a lot of the people cannot take care of it. They're lower income, many of them.
Yeah, so the way that we structure these particular projects, there's a range of different grants that we pursue. The Forest Health Grant is one that essentially CAL FIRE likes to see expanded and extended. So what we endeavor to do is to build a multi-party sort of coalition to implement the project. In this case, there's substantial work that's happening in both counties in areas that impact low-income communities. And so our objective is to do the work, and then these become sort of longer legacy projects. So generally the way these grants work is we go back after we make substantial progress on the implementation. It's a six-year grant. So in 3 years, as we make progress, we're going to go out and look again for funds from CAL FIRE through the Forest Health Grant to extend that further. In general, this whole issue of wildfire resilience and assisting landowners who don't have the means and assisting landowners that do have the means requires a pretty integrated approach, and we have been working on that diligently in Napa and increasingly want to make sure that we're working closely with our partners in other counties, because fire doesn't really care whether you're in Napa and Sonoma. As we've seen, these fire or Lake, these fires can tend to start and they just burn where they're going to burn, where the wind is blowing them or the fuel takes them. So in general, our philosophy is to reinforce and build strong working relationships with partners in our neighboring counties so that we can help them secure funds, help them develop capacity, leverage funds that we bring to the table and they bring to the table in match so that we can unlock more dollars and help the landowners that need the assistance the most. It is a little bit of a balancing act because in some respects, you can get a large grant. The grantor, the funders, they want to see that the people that are receiving those benefits have the means to maintain it. And so there's always this sort of tricky balance that we try to strike of working with landowners that have the means and then making sure that we can sort of underwrite or support or in a way subsidize landowners that don't have the means, but get them into a regime where they're getting support to maintain it. Because as we all know with fuel management, you can spend a lot of money to do a lot of work, and if you don't maintain it in 2 or 3 years, it's just right back and you literally threw that money away.
Well, what I'm
Somebody
talking
doesn't
about
maintain
are
it.
trees that have prior burnt during the valley fire and that are
Yeah.
still laying on the ground.
And that's what part of this project seeks to remediate burned forest land with dead, standing, or horizontal fuel regimes.
Right, and I'm talking about the lower income communities, so that cannot financially afford to do it.
Okay, I mean there are elements of that in this
Perfect,
proposal.
perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, so forest health grants are exactly that. We're bringing health back to our forests, and those of us that have very large unincorporated districts, we need to deal with this because there is, and this threatens our communities. When a fire gets going in a big forested area or in a watershed, that's important. We have to assist in the ways that we can for those landowners to learn what needs to be done, get the work done, and then commit to the long-term work because it's never going to be done. It needs to be continually treated, as you just pointed out. We do have other programs to help with those 50 by 100-foot lots that you're very concerned about. And in the city of Clear Lake, that is a great program through the Fire Safe Council that we've built out for defensible space. It's run out of money right now. We need to get more money. Chair Crandall and I supported that with our discretionary funds. That helped, I think, 45 people. I think it was 45 homes where people were assisted with those funds from the Fire Safe Council, State Fire Safe Council grant, to get their defensible space done around their home. So there's a lot of different ways that we're supporting people. Low income is definitely on our list. Seniors, definitely. People that can't manage their property, whatever size it is. We need to be there to help them because this is something that we have to live with. And so The forest health grants from CAL FIRE specifically are for bringing health back to our forests. And if we have landowners that are interested in doing this work and committed to maintaining, we need to work with them. And that's what this grant does. So I'm really grateful that you brought this to us and very supportive of this letter.
Thank you, Supervisor Pisca. If I could just add one thing about any project that we do, and we work closely with our partners on this, is we're always trying to seek it to be a model or a demonstration project to maximize the sort of impact and influence of the project. You are correct that the CAL FIRE Forest Health money is money that is for large tracts of land and improving forest health, which by extension is a wildfire resilience sort of prescription, so to speak. So this money is not really money that you can use to go do small parcel defensible space. They're looking for fewer landowners who have more acreage, who ideally are in a means or are in a mix of means to be able to maintain the land. I will add that part of our objective with this is to just reinforce our relationships with our partners in our neighboring counties, because in a bigger strategic way, we recognize that there's money out there with the Prop 4 that is coming due, and our objective is to just use our collective will and intentionality along with those of our partners in neighboring counties to make sure that we get, and I mean the broader the unit gets its fair market share of that money coming down the pike. And so anytime we're working on one of these projects where we're developing partnerships, it's with the long view that these solutions require kind of multidisciplinary, integrated work together. And so anytime we can kind of lock arms with our partners in neighboring counties, bring resources to the table, get folks to do the good work, and ultimately then chase the next round of funding, we're in a better position to do that.
Thank you, and I'll call on you after the supervisors are finished. I have Supervisor Vice Chair Rasmussen, and then Supervisor Pyska can go after, and then if there's anything else you want to close with, I'll call on you after they're finished.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Yes, I do appreciate Supervisor Sabate's comments and concerns, because I believe those are valid in a lot of situations, but on this, and I look at it from a public safety standpoint, and the benefit I think that we're going to gain out of this in protecting our community and making those lands that are essentially intermingled with all the public land is an important aspect to be able to put us in the best situation to prevent these fires in the future, or at least not have the devastation that we could if we don't do work like this. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, I just want to add, you had mentioned the priorities of the unit for the LNU. We were not successful. We have not been successful in forest health grants over the last few years. Our unit has barely gotten any CAL FIRE grants. And it's really important that we fix that we adhere to the priorities of the unit. And this is what that project does. There's an evacuation route, Highway 29 going over the mountain. That is essential for people to get in and out of our county. And evacuation routes is one of the priorities of the unit. So I really appreciate that it's tied to that, as well as hardening as well as enforcing around our community of Middletown. So I just want to bring that up because you had mentioned that. It's really important. We have to get back to having successful CAL FIRE grants, because the last couple of years have been pretty dry for our county.
Were you going to add something else, Vice Chair? Or?
No.
Okay. Okay, so if there's anything you want to close with briefly, or if we're good, I'll open it up to the public.
Just that I appreciate the consideration. I'm also on the board of the RCD, and we work very closely with our RCD partners here in Napa, and with those extended networks in our neighboring counties. And this is very, very expensive, complicated work. It takes a lot of dogged determination to go chase the money. I've long held that our success is largely dependent on our ability to build close relationships, not just within our respective counties, but across counties. And so we are sort of constantly striving. And I think this particular grant is a good example of our efforts to work closely with our neighbors, help to build capacity, help to bring dollars to our neighboring counties where we can. we've had some success landing forest health grants. We want to work to extend that elsewhere with our neighbors.
All right, thank you. So I'll open it up to the public if there's anyone that would like to comment on this item on the agenda. All right, hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we accept,
Approve?
approve the or this, the support for the Napa, Lake County Napa Private Public.
You're on.
Oh, I don't know why you can't hear it. So I'm going to make a proposal that we approve this.
Second.
So Lloyd,
Would be the motion to approve the letter of support reference.
The letter of support for the Napa Lake County Private Public Community-Based Organization.
And authorize the chair to sign.
And authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
all right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Thank you, Terry, and
Thank
thank
you.
you, sir, for being here.
Thank you. And
Thank you so much. I appreciate the consideration and approval.
Thank you. And just to say that I do continue to look for different grants for exactly what you're talking about, Sue.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was one I was specifically looking at that was about to come out from the Bureau of Land Management, but they have rescinded that.
We just still have a lot, I know, throughout
Yes.
the county.
Yes.
That, and, you know, like I said, when people can't afford it,
Yeah,
that's where we need to help the most.
I agree. Thank you.
Exactly.
We're here to help with any of that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
All right, so we'll close this item.